Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Asan Kapesingh, Chief Technology Evangelist at WSO2. WSO2 is a technology provider that we provide technologies for digital transformation, mainly focusing on API management, integration, and identity and access management. Today, I'm going to talk about crossing the low-code, pro-code chasm using a platform approach. Before jumping to the topic, I would like to give a quick introduction about myself. I'm coming from a strong product engineering and product architecture background, and then went in many areas of software development, moved to the CTO's office at WSO2. During that time, I authored the reference architecture and a reference methodology. Now, as the chief evangelist, I am telling the WSO2 story. So during next 20 minutes, what I'm trying to do, tell you about the current developer story, how they are stuck in between this low code and pro code chasm. And as a developer and architect, the information that I gathered as well as some solutions for this problem at the end as well. So I would like to say the software industry is like a movie industry. Why I say like that, because there are many parallels in these two industries. First, both industries are very creative, and both industries are trying to give a rich experience for their end users. And it's a teamwork that many roles get together and build a movie, as well as in the software development, a different kind of roles get together and build a software product or a service. And both industries are having a single goal, and then entire team is working towards that goal and providing this experience just to the end users. Another similarity that we see in these two industries is about taking the feedback and then improving the product or the service. So movies are remaking, as well as software is re-releasing the newer versions in frequent intervals to provide a better experience. So as I explained, both industries are very creative, and the atomic unit of software industry is the code. So if the industry is creative, then code has to be creative as well. And if you look at a developer, even developers are trying to provide a unique experience for their end users, right? That's where the differentiators come for these organizations. And as we know, software is the one making this differentiation. So it has to be creative by nature. So they are working on many techniques, listening to the customers, doing business architectures, and then mapping it to the technology architecture, and then taking it to the code and creating these unique experiences. And developers are visual. So as a developer, I know that, and as an architect, I know that as well. So if you look at the visuals are the main communication media between developers. They draw flow charts, they draw sequence diagrams, they draw class diagrams, and then data flow diagrams, various these kind of visual components to discuss among each other, as well as to plan the code that they are doing. The efficiency of the code, usability of the code, all these things are first documented using diagrams. And if you see a development team, they get together in front of a whiteboard and do a lot of whiteboarding. And if you talk to developers who's working from home during pandemic, this is the common complaint that they are giving, that they miss that part. But now there are like a lot of digital whiteboarding capabilities, as well as you can collaborate using this digital whiteboard. So part of the problem is solved, other than the social aspect of this fun activity. So if developers are visual, they should use visual tools as well, but they don't draw code. Yes, some developers are doing, but if you take it as a number, it's very small number that most of the developers are not doing or drawing code. And there are like different kind of low code platforms are available as well, but most of the developers are not fans of these different low-code platforms. So let's take a look at why these platforms are not popular. Actually, I wrote an article in the Forbes technology platform. I have put the URL down. If you need to, if you like to go in detail, you can read that article. So if you look at the key problems current low-code platforms are having, most of these low-code platforms are designed for citizen developers or the semi-technical developers who would like to drag and drop and generate some software. And these low-code platforms are not addressing the ad hoc developers and professional developer needs. So that is the main blocker for most of the developers to use low-code platforms. And most of the low-code platforms are one way. It's like this, like when you change the diagram, the code changes, but if you change the code, go and edit the code, the diagram doesn't change. So it's always one way. So the developers have to edit the diagram, but they can't edit the code. And most of these platforms are not supporting the standard software development lifecycle. That's where the developers are having fun. They plan, they build, they test, and then they release, go back to the same cycle. So that's where most of the fun happening. And these low-code platforms are not directly supporting that. So there's a lot of frustration among the developers because of this. And testing and debugging is really important because you have to provide reliable and stable products and services for your end users. So you have to test and debug this code before you release it to the end users. But unfortunately, most of the low-code and pro-code, most of the low-code platforms are having limited number of testing and debugging capabilities, as well as they don't allow to bring external tools to do this exercise as well. And I think you have noticed the integration is essential piece in modern software development because you find different kind of endpoints available all over. It can be an API or a traditional accessible endpoint using different kind of protocols that you need to access, like the SaaS applications, partner-driven applications, or any external applications outside the organizations, as well as in different business units. So integration is key. But most of these low-code platforms are having limited number of integration capabilities, and it is blocking the developers to properly integrate with these different systems. And these low-code platforms are generating proprietary code that is basically using domain-specific languages, or we call it them as DSL. So because of that, you have to stick to that particular platform forever, and you can't take it out from that platform and work on that. So we need a solution. Easiest solution is strike through all these problems we had. It's not that easy. We need to find solutions for each and every problem. The first problem is about focusing on the citizen integrators. The solution for that, we had to democratize the development and bring different type of development teams into the development, the citizen developers, ad hoc developers, and pro developers. So to do that, we need to provide a seamless experience for all these different developers by understanding their needs as well as their priorities. Then it has to be two-way, a proper graphical and textual parity, that you should be able to change the graphic and the code should change. When you change the code, the graphic should change as well. So having that two-way support will help to bring these different groups into the picture. So as example, then the business users can use the graphical editor and the pro developers will use the code, and then they can get together and build a solution without a problem. Then supporting the development cycle is very important. As I said, that's where that's where the developers are having fun. So it has to support a single code base that different type of development will happen inside the organization, but you should be able to take the low code generated code into the same code base, so that way it will be kind of a collaborative development, and that is again supporting the democratization of the development. And To overcome the testing and debugging challenges, a low-code platform should support rich testing and debugging capabilities. At the same time, it should allow to bring desired tools, because developers might be familiar with the specific tool and they might be very productive with those tools. So they should be able to bring it to the low-code platform and use it. For the integration support, low-code platform should support a rich ecosystem support, that it has to connect with standard SaaS applications and then other endpoints that require to build applications, as well as it has to provide extensibility for the low-code users to build new connectors and any other transport required to connect with their partner network and applications that they require to build new experiences. Then supporting open standards is a solution for vendor locking. So if the low-code platform supports open standards, then even the developers can take it outside the low-code platform and use it in other places as well. So these are some suggestions for low-code platforms to support. That way you can bring many developers into the picture. So let's step back and look at what exactly developers are doing today. So they are building digital experiences, because every domain, regardless of their primary business focus, they have to build digital experience. So it can be transportation, it can be retail, it can be healthcare. It doesn't matter. What consumers are looking today is a digital experience, and they pick the best product or the service providing a rich digital experience because they have many choices today. So you have to do that. That's where the innovation will come into the picture, and digital transformation playing a huge role. So what developers are doing today is basically they are supporting this digital journey by creating digital products. So they take the feedback from the consumers and then provide a rich experience, and this is an iterative process that they have to quickly move. And cloud playing a part here as well. And most of the organizations are lifting and shifting their applications into cloud. It's not a straightforward journey that first all the on-premise stuff will move into a hybrid mode and then gradually move into the cloud. But just move into the cloud is not enough. You have to modernize your applications as well, because if you don't modernize your applications, you will not be able to take the full capabilities from the cloud, as well as running monolithic applications in cloud environment will cost you a lot as well. This is a serious problem that some of the enterprises are facing today. So this is a new paradigm. Developers have to move to this new paradigm, and it is not easy. There are a bunch of challenges that we see. First thing is a converting strategy into a proper plan, and then the technology complexity, because you have many choices. As example, if you go to Amazon Web Services, you will see many options. And if you go to Cloud Native Compute Foundation, CNCF, you see many options available when it comes to a certain capability. So it is not that easy to pick the correct solution. And then this new paradigm required a new set of skills as well. And it's not easy to find this particular skill set, as well as it's not easy to retain those people. So it's kind of a messy middle. I call it as a messy middle. And most of the organizations are at this stage and trying to figure out what they require to do and how they can deliver value. So the end result is it takes time from strategy to generate value because of this messy middle. So we need to find a solution for this as well. So that is where most of the executives are paying attention these days, that they are trying to reduce the complexity and increase the productivity of the development teams, because software is the one creates the differentiator, and then developers are the one who's creating software. So making development teams productive is the key for organizations to continuously provide these digital experiences to their end users. So the solution for this messy middle is a platform. So if you bring a platform, then most of this complexity will hide and create a productive environment for the developers. There are many definitions for a platform, but my favorite is this code that I have put in the slides. It's done by Dave Gray in his book, Connected Company. And he says a platform is a support structure that increases the effective of a community. And the community that we are talking here is the developers, business architects, business stakeholders, and software architects, DevOps engineers, all these people who are supporting to create this digital experience working on a single platform. So if we have a platform, then there are the issues that we discussed at the messy middle will get resolved. And if we incorporate these low code, pro code capabilities into the same platform, then the developers will get a single platform that bridge the low code, pro code chasm, as well as bringing cloud native microservices, those kind of architecture styles, and abstract the complexity that you will find when building solutions by using these technologies. So that's where a platform will come handy and then help for us to bridge these two different silos that we see in most of our organizations. And this is the results. Once you have a very productive development team, they will start connecting the systems and expose APIs, and then using the APIs, they will build products and services. Those creates an rich digital experience for the end users that will feed into your value stream, and organization will start generating value. So that is how we can bring these platform capabilities, low code, pro code capabilities into the picture and create business value out of it. And we have done certain contribution to this area, but before going there, I would like to ask this question: does this resonate with you? Because every organization operates in different way. Every organization got different priorities based on the business models, market outlook, their competition, like that. But I think the future is this: that future is moving with a more cloud native, microservice, decentralized approach. And then we need to build the platforms to address these issues, as well as we need to make developers productive. So that's where a platform with low code, pro code will help you to overcome some of these issues. As I explained, as a company, we are contributing to this problem by providing few solutions. First solution is called Ballerina. It's a programming language that we introduce it as a cloud native programming language, and it is designed and built by having graphical and textual parity. So you can have this two-way communication by changing the code and then changing the graphic, or you can change the code and then you can go back to the graphic. So both ways it works. And then in addition to that, we have built this platform called Choreo. So it's basically abstracting all the complexity that I explained in the messy middle, and it has first level support for Ballerina as well. We call it as a low code cloud native engineering for professional developers. And if you like to continue this discussion, these are my contact details. You can follow me on Twitter. This is my LinkedIn profile. And then I frequently blog in this blog called Architect to Architect, as well as if you would like to get more information about WSO2, you can go to this URL and find more information. Thank you.